Hello everybody, Coach Arthur here in very hot Campbelltown at the moment to give you a little video on movement and striking. This is a foundational topic. Once you get down the ability to move and strike and coordinate between the legs and the arms, everything in the syllabus that involves moving, which is almost every single technique when you're standing, gets a lot easier. So basically, there's two patterns of movement if we're going diagonal or sideways directions. And the first one is what we call a bailout. So if I step to my left here and my right shoulder goes forward, this is a bailing out type of motion. If I'm stepping to my right, whether that's diagonally forwards, backwards, or directly sideways, and my left shoulder goes forward, so opposite foot, opposite shoulder, that's a bailing out type motion. And we have this in a few different techniques. The opposite would be if I step to my left here and my left shoulder goes forward like this. This is blading, so I'm facing inwards as I'm stepping. And if I step to my right and my right shoulder goes forward like this, again, it's blading. Just to give you an example of where these are used, inside defense against a straight punch, I'm going to use my left arm here. Boom! Which side went forward? My right shoulder for the counter attack. Inside defense against a straight knife stab, which side went forward? The left shoulder. So the first one was an example of bailing out, and the second one was an example of blading. So even in the techniques where they're not explicitly mentioned, you can see that these patterns are there. That's why getting this down pat makes everything easier. So if I borrow Nicole here, she's going to stand in my little square of the cones. The cones will be more relevant later, you'll see. The idea is when I'm circling and striking or moving around her and striking, just face me please. Yep. We want to make sure there is a connection between the legs and the arms. If there's no connection, it can look like this. The legs are moving in one rhythm, the arms are moving in another, and there's no power in the strikes. Keep in mind, for our strikes, all the power is generated, or most of the power is generated by the legs, pushing against the ground to shift the body weight forward. We call this the kinetic chain. It's a chain of muscles, calf, quad, glute, core in the case of a straight punch or a straight strike, and all of these muscles being activated at the same time physically shifts my body weight forward. You can see even my hips are going forward, and this generates the power for a defense, for a punch, for a other type of attack, for a push, etc. So we want to make sure whenever we're striking while we're moving, we have power, which means we want to have the kinetic chain there lined up for each strike. So the first pattern we're doing is striking with a cross, so bailing out first, striking with a cross, bailing out first, and then afterwards we'll look at blading with the strike. So if I'm going to step diagonally forwards to my left, we're going to pivot the foot so it faces in this direction, and we're going to step with the opposite foot, opposite hand. Remember, the bailout means opposite shoulder to the foot stepping goes forward. When we do this, we can have our first punch. So step and punch, left foot, right hand. Now the tricky part becomes here with the second step. We need a step, so that I'll just show you from here. We need a step so that the foot is further from the channel, further from the attacker than the front leg. That way we're facing inwards towards them. We want to be in a nice strong fighting stance. And we want to time our second punch that as soon as this foot hits the ground, it pushes off the ground using calf, quad, glute, squeezing all those muscles and sending the left shoulder forward to the target. If she's in the close range, if she wasn't moved by the first strike, it becomes a hook strike. So we have a straight punch, and then we have a hook strike inwards. Both of these have a lot of power because of the timing. Straight punch, come back, good. Hook strike. You can see both of them are able to move her a lot. She's a tough cookie, don't worry, she's fine, right? Yes. If I punch the second hand though, before this foot lands, what we have is a powerful first punch, right? Come back. And not very powerful second punch because there's nothing to push off. We're not able to push off the ground. So with this first method of bailing out with the first punch, we're going to use a cross side punch. So opposite hand to the foot stepping. So left foot, right hand, boom. Land with the second step, left punch. Left foot, right hand, land, left punch. If you're hitting the back of the head, use the palm heel so you don't break your hand. Left foot, right hand, land, left attack. Again, I'm making hook strikes because she's not being moved at the moment. Left foot, right hand, and land and make a left attack. And I'm able to go all the way around her. So if we do this nice and fast, face me. If we do this nice and fast, it looks like this. Each one of these strikes was supported by the back leg, able to push my body weight forward with each strike, so there was power in all of those punches. Of course, we can do this in the opposite direction. Even with my left foot starting, I can step the right foot forward, move my head towards the right, and have left punch, right hand. And again, this is an example of bailing out. Opposite shoulder is going forward, while the opposite leg goes forward. And it's exactly the same here. Left punch, right step, second step, lands and gives us our next punch. Left punch, right step, second step lands, gives us our next punch. This is the basic pattern. Opposite hand, land with the second step, out of the channel, and give the next strike. Now I said before I'm doing hook strike because she's not being moved. If she is being moved by the strike, then the second punch will be like a straight punch to the knockout point of the jaw. So the second punch is either a hook, if it's close, or more of a straight punch if it's far away. This is the bailing out pattern, or leading with a cross. Now we're going to lead with a jab. So she comes here. The other way, again, is rather than opposite shoulder, opposite leg, we can do same shoulder, same leg. So here. Now this one, we sacrifice a little bit of power. Not going to be as powerful as the cross strike, the bailing out strike. But we're able to target the knockout point of the jaw a lot easier. So we get a better target, although with less power. The idea here is with this first strike, we send the shoulder of the striking hand, which is the same side as the stepping leg, inwards as we make this first step. So we're here. As we're pushing, we start the strike as soon as we're in range. Again, this one's not going to be very powerful, but just like before, we've got to make a second step. So here, we can land the back leg, and this landing onto the ground, pushing the body forward. Make sure you land with the toes facing the target, will give us an extremely powerful second strike there. So to show you from this angle, from behind, you can just face me, Nicole. First step, second step. First step, second step, and wait and see how, when this foot lands, that is generating the power for the second step there. So same thing as before, we can go all the way around a target doing this pattern of movement, leading with a jab or a hook, depending on the range, but again, blading inwards. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And check the timing, how there is a push off the back leg for the first strike, and then it lands and pushes again for the second strike. So there's always a push from the ground with each strike happening, so there's always power there. One little adjustment we can make, because the first strike isn't very powerful, you can instead go for the eyes. So whipping inwards like this, whip the eyes, you don't need power there, and of course it'll blind the person, following up with the second powerful punch afterwards. Now just like before, we can go in the opposite direction. So even if the left foot is forward, we can step with the right foot forward, blade the right shoulder inwards, and move in with the strike. If you just hop out for a sec. So same thing, from here, this shoulder's coming inwards. We're going to move our head and body in this direction. If our center of gravity goes there, it's easier to step that way. Step with the right leg, and then land and generate the power for the backhand punch, the second punch, with that back leg landing out of the channel. Now, the reason for the cones. This is an easy way to dry drill it and get good at it. If you have a boxing bag, heavy bag, or a bob dummy or something you can hit, I recommend doing these drills around that and actually making contact, because it'll enable you to feel whether you have good power and support from the legs when you're striking. Otherwise, you can set up some cones. It can be a single cone, it can be a square. If you don't have cones, you can literally use the tiles on the floor and say that that is somebody's stance, and I'm going to be circling around that. So we can start off with the bailing out version. Step outside the cones with the first punch, land, and punch again. Step, land, punch again. Imagine the person is in the middle of the cone, so you have to punch inwards to the back of the head now. Step and punch, palm strike is the back of the head, land, punch inwards again. Now, depending on where you land, you might need a third step. So if I'm here with the first step and my right foot lands very close, that's okay. I just need to take a third step, and that looks like this. Boom, like this. Watch the footwork. Step, second step, third step. Perfectly fine. We're still generating a lot of power in this attack. You can go one way, and then you can go the other way. And you can even practice switching on the fly. That would be the third stage here, is to practice switching on the fly from one direction to the other. And then same thing, we can use the cones, we can use the tiles for the blading version of the strike. So it's exactly the same, start off slow, going outside the cones, 1, 2, land, make the second strike, 1, 2, again, the head is here, so I have to strike inwards, 1, 2, 1, 2. When you get comfortable, go the other side, 1, 2, check the timing, foot lands for the second punch, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, like this. And then when you're comfortable, switching sides, so here, oh, that was the blading one, but again, we are going in opposite directions, switching sides, making a circle around a target. And then finally, when you're comfortable with all of these, and this doesn't have to be all in the one session if you're practicing at home, it can be across multiple sessions, mix and match between the two styles. Bailing out, striking, blading, bailing out, blading, bailing out. That was blading. You get the idea. Just get comfortable striking with support of the legs with every strike. Again, works really well if you have a heavy bag. If you have a partner, you can work with your partner. So I'll just borrow Nicole back in. So instead of a Bob dummy, I have a Nicole dummy. Let's go backwards a little bit. There we go. So go very slow and just push through the target. If you want to make it more comfortable for them, use your palm heel. So I'm here, 1, 2. We should be able to push them with the second strike. 1, 2. If I can push her backwards with the second strike, nice and strongly, then I know I've got support from the legs. So there you go. Thank you, Nicole. A nice little progression, as well as the theory of moving and striking. Again, almost everything we do has an element of this. Defending against a low straight stab. Which one was this one? Well, I stepped to the right and my right shoulder came inwards, so it was blading. Inside defense against a regular kick to the groin, right, with an early counter attack. Which one was this? Right shoulder went forward, left foot stepped, so it was bailing out. Almost everything we do has an element of one of these two movement patterns in it. And later on, we can talk about kicking, bailing and blading with the kicks. Okay, thank you very much. Let me know if you have any questions. Enjoy, bring it up in training, try it out in training, and ask me questions in training as well, or send me a message if you have a question there. Enjoy the rest of your day.